Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is 17th December 2024. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. Even before that, everyone please understand we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. And the cost of the training is over 8,000 US dollars, but it is completely a free training program. All the training lessons can be accessible at our NeoStock YouTube channel. At our channel homepage, please click on the tab Posts. Some of you might be seeing the tab Community. Click on the tab. You get access to our free training course. And this post is having a YouTube playlist link that will take you to all the training lessons. So just click on the link. Now we are into the playlist Supply Demand Zone Price Action course. You need to start your training from lesson 1.1. For that you need to scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here starting from lesson 1.1, all the training lessons are placed in an order. So please go through all these lessons one by one and strengthen your skills related to supply demand zone price action. I have also provided the link to our Telegram channel in this video description. Please join at our Telegram channel. It will be helpful to you. Now, I am going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers with the help of NeoStock Software Supply Demand Zone Top-Down Analysis Strategy Builder. Okay, the first report I am going to generate, finding the stocks near half-yearly demand zone. No stocks are available. Excuse me. And a half-yearly time frame, let's find the stocks near half-yearly supply zone. One stock is filtered. I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. I request you pause the video, study the report, and then proceed to the next report. In case if you don't understand how to study the report, I request you complete our training lesson 21.1. In that video, I have explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, the next report, quarterly time frame, stocks near quarterly demand zone, two stocks are filtered. Next, quarterly time frame, stocks near quarterly supply zone, 5 stocks are filtered. Next time frame is monthly, stocks near monthly demand zone, 6 stocks. Next, monthly time frame, stocks near monthly supply zone, 5 stocks. Next, monthly time frame, price closed inside the monthly demand zone, and these monthly demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at monthly time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count is 0. Pierced count 0 means the zone is not pierced. Let's filter the stocks. 18 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the monthly demand zone. We can further filter these stocks based on monthly EMA Confluence to find the high probability zones. So in the EMA Confluence parameter at monthly time frame, monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence filter is set, and EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending market, not in the sideways. That's why in the trend at monthly time frame, I am selecting up or down but not sideways. Let's filter further. Out of 18, 10 stocks are filtered. These 10 demand zones are having monthly EMA Confluence and also the current price closed in these monthly demand zones. Okay, next report, monthly time frame, price closed inside the monthly supply zone. These monthly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at monthly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With this filter we got 8 stocks. Currently price closed in these 8 monthly supply zones. In these 8 we can further filter based on the monthly EMA Confluence for the monthly supply zones. So in the EMA Confluence filter at monthly time frame, I am setting the filter monthly supply zones having monthly EMA Confluence, because EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending market but not sideways. So in the trend at monthly time frame I am selecting up or down trend but not sideways. So none of those stocks are having none of those monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA Confluence. Okay. Next time frame is weekly. Stocks near weekly demand zone, 11 stocks are filtered. Next weekly time frame, stocks near weekly supply zone, 7 stocks we got. Next weekly time frame, price closed inside the weekly demand zone. These weekly demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, weekly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters we got a good number of stocks. First 16 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 27 stocks are filtered where price closed inside weekly demand zones. Okay, out of these 27 weekly demand zones where price closed inside the zones, we can further filter based on the zones having weekly EMA Confluence. Demand zones having weekly EMA Confluence. So in the EMA Confluence filter, parameter at weekly time frame, I am setting the filter weekly demand zones having weekly EMA Confluence. And in the trend at weekly time frame, we should not select sideways. That means up or down we can select. With these filters, we got 8 stocks out of 27. These 8 weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA Confluence and also current price closed inside those weekly demand zones. Okay. Next report for weekly time frame. Price closed inside weekly supply zone, and these weekly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at weekly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means weekly supply zone is not pierced. We got good number of stocks. First 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 23 stocks are filtered where price closed inside weekly supply zone. Out of these 23 weekly supply zones where price closed inside these zones, we can further filter based on the weekly EMA Confluence for the weekly supply zones. So let's set the filter EMA Confluence, weekly time frame, weekly supply zone having weekly EMA Confluence. The filter is set, and this EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending market. That's why in the trend weekly time frame I am selecting either up or down trend. That is a trending, but sideways is not trending. So let us further filter. Out of 27 we got 8 stocks. Currently price closed in these 8 weekly supply zones, and also these weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. Some of these weekly zones are high liquidity supply zones. Okay, this is about weekly time frame. Next time frame is a daily. Entry time frame daily. Let us find the stocks where price closed inside the daily demand zone. Sorry, where price closed near the daily demand zone. Sorry for my mistake. 15 stocks are filtered where price is near to the daily demand zone. Let us identify high liquidity daily demand zones from this list. Abbott is having a high liquidity zone. Angel One having high liquidity zone. Bandhan Bank is having a high liquidity zone. Glenmark is having a high liquidity zone. Hero Motors is having a high liquidity zone. Jubilant Food is having a high liquidity zone. So total 7 high liquidity daily demand zones we identified from this list. Okay, next daily time frame. Let us find the stocks where price is near to the daily supply zone. 8 stocks are filtered. Let us identify high liquidity daily supply zones. Laurus Labs, again and again, last 1 week we are getting this stock. High liquidity supply zone. That's it. This is the only one we have. Okay. Next, daily time frame. Price closed inside the daily demand zone, and these daily demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at a daily time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With this filter, we got a big number of good number of stocks. First 15 stocks where price closed inside the daily demand zone. I am scrolling the list down. Further scrolling the list down. So total 32 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the daily demand zone. So in these 32 daily demand zones where price closed inside the daily demand zones, we can further filter based on the daily demand zones having daily EMA confluence. Let's add that filter in the EMA confluence. At a daily time frame, daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. And in the EMA, when you are using EMA confluence, it should not be, trend should not be sideways. So that's why in the trend at a daily time frame, we are selecting either up or down trend. With this, we got 10 stocks. Out of 32, 10 stocks are filtered where these daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. Current price is closed in the daily demand zones. Okay, next daily time frame. Price closed inside the daily supply zone, and these daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at a daily time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters, we got 8 stocks. That means currently price closed in these 8 daily supply zones. We can further filter these 8 daily supply zones by setting the filter daily supply zones having daily EMA confluence. Let us add that filter. In the EMA Confluence at a daily time frame, daily supply zone having daily EMA Confluence. And the daily trend should not be sideways. So in the trend at a daily time frame, we are selecting up or down trend. Let's further filter. We got two stocks. In these two stocks, price is closed inside the daily supply zone, and those daily supply zones are having daily EMA Confluence. Okay, the next time frame is a 125 minutes time frame. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone, we got 14 stocks. Next 125 minutes time frame, stocks near 125 minutes supply zone, 5 stocks. Okay, the next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes demand zone. 10 stocks are filtered. Let us identify the high liquidity zones from this list. First one, Nifty Auto, is pierced. Nifty Next 50 is having a high liquidity 75 minutes demand zone, and Nifty Next 50 is also part of the F&O list. We can trade in this. That's it. We have only one valid high liquidity daily demand zone from this list, Nifty Next 50. Okay, next 75 minutes time frame. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes supply zone. 8 stocks are filtered. Let's identify high liquidity supply zones. We don't have any 75 minutes high liquidity supply zones from this list. Okay. Next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Next 25 minutes time frame. Stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. We got again 7 stocks. Next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. 8 stocks are filtered. Out of these 8, how many are having ITF demand zone confluence? Let's filter. That is 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. With this filter, out of 8, we got 2 stocks. Marico and Reliance. Okay. Next, 15 minutes time frame. Stocks near 15 minutes supply zone. We got 6 stocks. Out of these supply zones, 6 supply zones, how many are having ITF supply zone confluence? Let us filter. That is 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. I am enabling this filter. Out of 6, we got 2 stocks. These 2 supply zones, 15 minute supply zones, are having zone confluence with 75 minute supply zone. Okay, next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Out of these 7, how many are having ITF demand zone confluence? Let us verify. That is 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. With this filter, we got 4 stocks. Out of these 4, the third one is not valid because the demand zone is already pierced zone. Keep an eye, it is pierced 4 times. That means something is there below this zone. Okay. Next, 5 minutes time frame. Stocks near 5 minutes supply zone. We got 15 stocks. Out of these 15, how many are having ITF supply zone confluence? That is 5 minute supply zone with the 15 minute supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. With this filter, out of 15 stocks, we got only 3 stocks. And these 3 5 minute supply zones are having confluence with 15 minute supply zone. That means 5 minute supply zone is part of the 15 minute supply zone. That is what zone confluence. What means overlap. Okay, this is about stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. We also identified daily and 75 minutes high liquidity zones. The next set of reports are about NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. Let's start with NIFTY. Starting with the monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. This is monthly supply demand zone chain. Always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zone. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. Always look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. Apply the same rules for the remaining supply demand zone chain reports. And also don't forget to pause the video when you are moving from one report to another report, because I am giving you only few seconds time. Okay, next, weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 125 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 75 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 25 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 15 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 5 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. So this is about NIFTY supply demand zone chain. Next, we will generate BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. That is nothing but NIFTY Bank. So monthly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, weekly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 125 minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 75 minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 25 minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 15-minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 5-minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. So this is about Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. The next set of reports are about bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly and daily income trades. First, let's start with the monthly income trade bullish trade setup. Entry time frame daily, entry zone demand zone, bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame daily. I am selecting bullish. These daily demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count should be 0. Pierced count 0 means zone is not pierced. And zone achievement should always be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be greater than or equals to 12. So with all the three parameters, that is pierced count, zone achievement and minimum odd enhancer score, all the three parameters are applied to daily demand zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got around 20 stocks are filtered, supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. I am scrolling the list down. Okay. So this is bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry zones are daily demand zones. Out of these 20 daily demand zones, there could be some high probability supported daily demand zones might be available. We need to filter them. So the first filter is based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. Let's set the filter. That is a daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. This is the filter. I am enabling the filter. What is the meaning of this filter? Daily demand zone should be part of the weekly demand zone. That is what zone confluence. We got 15 stocks. Out of these 15, all the daily demand zones are part of the weekly demand zone and supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. And entry time frame is these daily demand zones. But these daily demand zones are part of the weekly demand zone. They are overlapped with weekly demand zones. That is what zone confluence. So out of these 15, we can further identify even more high probability trade setup supported stocks based on the weekly EMA confluence. Because the daily zone is part of the weekly zone. And the weekly trend is up. Weekly means ITF trend, that is uptrend. That's why weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence. They are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence at a weekly time frame, weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence filter is enabled. Already daily is part of this weekly zone. So that's why we are checking weekly's demand zone with weekly EMA confluence. So with this filter, we got 9 stocks. So these 9 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Bullish trade setup, monthly income trade. All these entry zones are daily demand zones. But these daily demand zones are part of the weekly, and weekly zone is having weekly EMA confluence, and weekly trend is uptrend. That is ITF trend. Okay, next filter is based on LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, we should set 3 filters. First filter is already we set, that is a daily with weekly demand zone confluence. Second filter is a daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. Third filter is weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF and HTF, demand zone confluence, we got only 2 stocks. In these 2 daily demand zones, they are part of the weekly demand zones, both together again part of the monthly demand zone. That means now everything is part of the monthly zone, daily and weekly together. But monthly trend is also uptrend. If any of these monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify whether they have any monthly EMA confluence. In the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence, because daily zone together weekly zone is part of the monthly zone. That's why we are looking for monthly demand zone with monthly EMA confluence. Let us verify. So none of those stocks are having monthly EMA confluence. So that setup supported stocks are not filtered. Okay, fine. The next trade setup is a bearish trade setup monthly income trade. So entry time frame daily, entry zone, supply zone for bearish trade setup. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame daily, I am selecting bearish. And these daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter, daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to daily supply zone. Now let us filter the stocks. We got 2 stocks. Currently these 2 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Out of these 2, how many are having ITF confluence? Let us verify. That is a monthly supply zone, daily entry time frame daily, right? So daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence, LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. So we set the parameter filter. So we didn't have any stocks, ITF confluence. If ITF confluence is not there, weekly confluence, HTF confluence also won't be available. Okay. This is about bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame 75 minutes. For bullish trade setup, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup parameter at 75 minutes, I am selecting bullish. These 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters applied to 75 minutes demand zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 9 stocks currently supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. The entry zones are 75 minutes demand zones. So all these are all 75 minutes demand zones, the green color zones. Okay, out of these 9 75 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability setup supported zones might be available. We need to filter them. First filter is based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 75 minutes and daily demand zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. 75 with daily demand zone confluence. With this filter, out of 9, we got 7 stocks. In these 7 stocks, the 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. And the daily trend is up in all the stocks. Daily means ITF trend. Because the daily is uptrend, 75 minute zone is part of the daily zone. We are looking for daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. So at a daily time frame, daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 5 stocks. That means all these daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. And also these demand zones are supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade, and also these daily demand zones are these 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zones. And those daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. and daily trend is also uptrend. So that's why these 5 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay. Next, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. So I'm removing this EMA filter. That is 75 minutes, daily and weekly demand zone confluence. 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 75 with daily. Next, 75 minutes demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. Daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, demand zone confluence, we got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, these are the 75 minutes demand zones. So these 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone, both together again part of the weekly demand zone. And weekly trend is up in all the 4 stocks. If any of these 4 stocks are having weekly EMA confluence, weekly demand zone with weekly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. So let's verify. In the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, out of 4 stocks, we got all the 4 stocks. That means all these 4 stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. For weekly income trade, bullish trade setup. Okay, next, weekly income trade, bearish trade setup. Entry time frame is 75 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes, I am selecting bearish. These 75 minutes supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement, violated opposing zone, minimum odd and enhanced score is 12. All 3 filters are applied to 75 minutes supply zone. Let's filter the stocks. We got 8 stocks. All these 8 stocks are currently supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. The entry zones are 75 minute supply zones. All these 8 zones are 75 minute supply zone. Zones marked with red color. We have to plan our trades in those zones. But we need to find more high probability trade setup supported zones. The first filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. Let's add that filter. In the supply zone confluence, I have to look for 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. I enable the filter. With this filter, we got 7 stocks. In all these 7 stocks, these 75 minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. That is what you are seeing in the supply zone confluence. Always look into the search strategy. Okay, out of these 7 75 minute supply zone, even more high probability trade setup supported stocks we can identify, because 75 minute supply zone is part of the daily supply zone. The daily supply zone is having daily EMA confluence. It is even more high probability trade setup supported stocks, because all the daily trend is a downtrend in all these stocks. The ITF trend is a daily trend. So let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, out of those 7 stocks, we got 4 stocks. These 4 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay. The next filter is LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. So removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, we need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, that is 75 minutes with daily supply zone confluence. Next, 75 minute supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. Daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, these 75 minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. Both together again part of the weekly supply zone. And the weekly trend is down in the first stock and the third stock. If out of those two stocks, if any of those stocks are having weekly EMA Confluence, the supply zones with weekly EMA, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA Confluence at a weekly time frame, a weekly supply zone, weekly time frame, weekly supply zone with weekly EMA Confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got two stocks. Out of these two, first one is having downtrend. Ignore the second, sideways. EMA Confluence does not give any advantage in sideways market. But first one is a downtrend, so it is a more high probability trade setup supported stock. But second one is also good stock because it is a high liquidity zone, the 75-minute supply zone. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. And the next report is about daily income trade. The first one in the daily income trade, bullish trade setup. So daily income trade, entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish. These 15 minutes demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score is 12. All three filters are applied to 15 minutes demand zone. Now let us filter the stocks. We got 7 stocks. Currently these 7 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry zones are 15 minutes demand zones. Out of these 7 15 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability setup supported zones might be available. We need to filter them. The first filter is based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. With this filter, out of 7, we got 6 stocks. In all these 6 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zone. And 75 minutes trend is uptrend. If any of these 75 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA Confluence, they could be even more high probability setup supported stocks because 15 minutes entry zone is part of the 75 minutes zone. So let us look for the EMA Confluence in the 75 minutes demand zone. So 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA Confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, out of the 6 stocks, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 are even more high probability trade setup supported demand zones. And also these 2 15 minutes demand zones are high probability, high liquidity zones also. Okay. Now let's look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence supported stocks. I am removing this EMA filter. So in the demand zone confluence, I need to set 3 filters: LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. First, already we enabled 15 minutes with 75 minutes. Second filter, 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Third filter, 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zone. Both together again part of the daily demand zone. And the daily trend is up in only 1 stock, remaining all 3 sideways. If this is stock, if this stock is having daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence, it could be even more high probability trade setup demand zone. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled. And in the trend, it should not be sideways. That's why in the daily trend, I am selecting uptrend because it is a bullish trade setup. You can't use downtrend for HTF time frame. in bullish trade setup. That's why we selected uptrend. So VEDL is filtered. That means this is even more high probability trade setup demand zone, and also it is also a 15 minutes high liquidity zone. Already it is tested twice because the 2 rejections are there from this zone. Okay, this is about bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Next, bearish trade setup daily income trade. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup parameter at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting bearish. These 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value is 0. That means zone is not pierced. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All the 3 filters are applied to 15 minute supply zone. Now let us filter the stocks. We got 7 stocks. These 7 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade, and entry zones are 15 minute supply zones. Out of these 7 15 minute supply zones, there could be some high probability setup supported supply zones might be available. We need to filter them. The first filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. Let us verify. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. With this filter, out of 7 stocks, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, the 15 minute supply zones, these 15 minute supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zone, and 75 minutes trend is down. That's why if the 75 minute supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, those stocks could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got only 1 stock, and this is even more high probability trade setup supported supply zone, and also it is a high liquidity supply zone, the 15 minutes supply zone, and HTF trend is also downtrend. This is based on LTF, ITF supply zone confluence, and also the daily and having daily EMA confluence for that 75 minutes time frame supply zone. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks. I am removing this EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 15 minutes with 75 minutes supply zone confluence. Second filter, 15 minutes supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Third filter, 75 minutes supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, first, second and third, these 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence, we got only 1 stock. So in this stock, the 15 minute supply zone, this is the 15 minute supply zone. This is part of the 75 minute supply zone. Both together again part of the daily supply zone. And the daily trend is a downtrend. If this daily supply zone is having daily EMA confluence, this IOC stock would be even more high probability trade setup supported stock. Already it is tested 1 because it is a high liquidity zone. 2 rejections. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at daily time frame, the daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled, and we got the same stock is filtered. That means this daily zone is also having daily EMA confluence. It is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. How this is even more high probability, how to understand this stock, that I already explained in lesson 27. Apply those concepts in this. Suppose this This 15 minutes is having part of 75. The 75 is having another 15 minute zone. That is also high probability. In case if this is violated, the next one will be enabled. That is what we discussed in lessons 27. Lesson 27 is very, very important to understand these strategies. LTF, ITF and EMA Confluence, LTF, ITF, HTF and also EMA Confluence. They are very important strategies. You need to understand them. As per those strategies only, we are filtering these stocks. So this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And the last report is about daily ATRs. I am generating the daily ATRs. First 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. So I am scrolling the list down, whichever the stock you want to refer, there you pause the video. After that you can proceed further. I am scrolling the list down. This is the end of the report. I wish this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.